James, you're coming to us from Boston. So what's the read around the town on this current iteration of the New England Patriots?
Man, it is so polarizing around here. You have the people who still think Bill can do no wrong. There are people who've tried to tell me in Boston that Bill Belichick was intentionally putting out like a poor product on the field because he wanted to like hide stuff from the people he was cutting, or like hide stuff from the team so no one knew what he was really doing on offense. I was like, okay, did you see that Mac Jones pass where he just threw it right to a linebacker? Was that a Bill Belichick like in his ear like type of thing? And then there's other fans who are like, oh my God, we're in panic mode. That dude we drafted, Tyquan Thornton, who's supposed to be the hot shot receiver, out for I'm gonna say the year. He's supposed to be only out 8 weeks. Realistically, he'll be eliminated for most of the year. Running backs, nobody knows what's gonna happen with Damian Harris. Apparently, that's their strong suit. But receivers is Devontae Parker and I don't know.
Is
Kendrick
Aguilar
Bourne.
still there? Is Aguilar still
Aguilar's
playing
kicking around. Their offensive line is average. Everything else in the team is Their cornerbacks are atrocious. Like I was gonna go again, but just atrocious. It's a bad situation in Boston.
Who'd they decide on call plays, Kyle? Was it Matt Patricia or Joe Judge?
It's so great. It's so great. It's Matt Patricia. It's Matt Patricia. And I was laughing at Ben McAdoo calling plays for the Carolina Panthers as the funniest thing that could ever happen. No, Matt Patricia, who again was the defensive coordinator for 7 years in New England, will be calling offensive plays for the Patriots this year. Every fiber of my being says they're going to finish third in that division and be as good as the Carolina Panthers. And at the same time, it's an ultimate testament to Bill Belichick that they have the last 3 years, that last Brady year and the 2 years since, they have an above 500 record. They have made 2 playoff appearances and won an AFC East with an offense that has never been ranked higher than 21st in the league. Like their offenses have been piss poor, terrible for 3 years now, and they've been able to make the playoffs twice and win the AFC East one of those years. Like the Patriots, you got to put a lot of faith in Bill Belichick being the smartest defensive coach ever, and the fact that although you lose J.C. Jackson, although you lose Chase Winovich, they cut that safety who was drafted a few years ago, and the fact that they brought in Malcolm Butler from retirement to replace J.C. Jackson, and now Malcolm Butler's on injured reserve. Like, you got to be putting a lot of faith in Bill Belichick's abilities as a defensive coach to believe that the Patriots will be able to replicate the success of last year, because I'm definitely not on any kind of Mac Jones hype train. I am still, we agreed, Blake Jude, who's our draft guy, and me agreed. He was an early 3rd round grade in that draft when he was picked and happened to get picked in the 1st round. So obviously, he had a pretty good year last year, but man, the Patriots are just such a confusing team this year to follow, especially because, like James was talking about, there's some people who believe that this is all part of Belichick's master plan, and they believe in the Illuminati, and Belichick can do no wrong. This is one where you got to put a lot of faith in his ability to build a defense to look at the Patriots and say they're going to win a large amount of games this year.
Strange coordinators' decisions and strange draft picks. That's defined the Patriots offseason. Going into this game, Mike McDaniel actually put it out there pretty well that there's not a greater coaching disparity in terms of experience than him going against Bill Belichick. Certainly McDaniel has the better team, or at least based off the offseason, I think he has the better team. I don't know what Tua will become. We've talked about that one. Can Tua ever live up to his draft stock? Probably not. He's probably as good as like the left-handed Jimmy Garoppolo. But with Tyreek Hill, Terron Armstead, the improvements to the running game, their defense already being on the top half of the league, there's a lot to like there. Going back to last season when they had that little stretch where they started to pull it together, you started to see the flashes. And now I think with a more creative offensive mind in Mike McDaniel, I think that this team should be able to scheme up some stuff that will keep the Patriots guessing, keep them on their toes, and speed kills. And I just don't think that the Patriots have enough speed to keep up with this fully healthy Dolphins team. Jalen Waddle just got cleared to go back in and practice, so now they have their full complement of wide receivers. I just like this Dolphins team. I mean, we talked about them as about a 8 to 9 win team, at least 8 to 9 wins guaranteed off of their schedule last week. And I'm just sticking true to that. I think that this is going to be a win against the Patriots in week 1. Vegas currently has this as a 3.5-point line in favor of the Dolphins. Patriots also have to travel. They're playing in favorable conditions for Mac Jones for what it's worth in terms of him not having to play in the cold, which I know later in the season was a problem for him. He might throw more than 3 pass attempts during the game. And yeah, in terms of Mac Jones' second year development, I just don't know what a second gear looks like for Mac Jones. I don't know what that next level, that upgrade is for him. People, when he was drafted, as like, oh, is he going to be the mini Brady? I just don't see him having that same career path. Obviously, a career path that includes 7 world championships and multiple MVPs. That's just something based off his rookie year. I just don't see likely, especially with, again, a defensive coordinator calling offensive plays, and not even the most talented defensive coordinator, mind you, too. The fact that Mac Patricia is still in the league kind of baffles me. I know everyone claimed during the job hiring process that he was genius, but was his defenses ever really that good?
Just the one Super Bowl one. That was about it. But he was in the job long enough that all the Belichick assistants got hired. You also brought up a good point. Patriots.
But he was the one that got lit up by Nick Foles, right?
I think he got hired after the Nick Foles year, but he got hired based off of the year before when they beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl. But yeah, he had already been named the Lions head coach before he got lit up by Nick Foles in the Super Bowl, which was a little mess up on his part. By the way, you brought up a great point. Patriots don't have a defensive coordinator, just no defensive coordinator this year. It's just not going to name the position at all. It's just, that's how they're rolling this year.
James, does Belichick have anything in his bag of tricks to get the Miami Dolphins this week?
I mean, no, he's always had a hard time, but this just continues on my, me being in Boston, where there's the 2 sides, right? Then there's Elmo meme with the fire, and and then above that just says Bailey Zappi season. I want that. I want Zappi. So that's his secret weapon. That's what he's keeping. That's his tactical nuke in the pocket. Bailey Zappi waiting in the wing to take over for Mac Jones and ride off into the sunset.
Kyle, what's your game prediction?
Well, I'm going to tentatively take the Dolphins, and I will also acknowledge the fact that the forecast for this game is supposed to be 91 degrees in Miami with 74% humidity, which is, for those who don't know, really, really humid, and the possibility of scattered thunderstorms for this game. So weather doesn't know exactly what it's doing for this football game. And that is Mac Jones's backyard, apparently, because he's from Jacksonville, Florida. So that is what Mac Jones is used to, apparently. But weather's going to be chaotic. That Dolphin Stadium does not do well for heat. On the field, it usually feels like 100 degrees for some of those games. So reserve the fact that it could be one of those chaotic games based on weather, but I will tentatively take the Dolphins to get to 1-0 on the season because they are 3-point favorites against the Patriots, and I trust that Vegas is following all the weather patterns and weird coaching hires by both sides.
All right, guys, you probably noticed this segment's a little different, not just Kyle and I, but we also joined by a guest, James from Boda. James, we need you to drop all the obligatory plugs. That way people know where to find you.
Hi, well, thank you for having me. You can find us everywhere at Boda Sports, BOTA. Instagram, TikTok is the biggest ones. There's also a Twitter, but it's really not worth them. I'm going to be 500% honest about it. Yeah, you can find all of our stuff everywhere just by searching Boda Sports.
Okay, guys, find that below in the bio. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel from Juju Talk Sports and Kyle Ledbetter. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. We'll see you on the next one.